Can you imagine if all the characters in the Bible were archetypes of personalities that exist today? What if the Bible was explaining personality profiles and how they function in society? I challenge you to re-examine the stories and see just how the characters operate. Then I'd like to ask you, what character best represents you? What personality profile are you playing? Because I think we are all in that book, whether we can see it or not. You see, you have the people who are devils, but they are able to disguise themselves as angels of light. These are the ones who are arrogant and want to esteem themselves above others. This is Lucifer. There are a lot of Luciferians out there, people who fit that description. Deceivers, liars, people who pretend to be righteous, but they are evil. The Bible said this about King Saul. It said that he had a form of godliness, denying the power thereof, which meant he portrayed himself as godly when in fact he was a fraud, someone who was false and pretentious. So these are the wolves in sheep's clothing, people who pretend to be wholesome and virtuous, but they're fake, they're false. They just pretend to be virtuous characters when they are actually wicked inside. The Pharisees and the high priests fit this description as well in the Bible. They pretended to be pious, upright, outstanding people, when in fact they were treacherous individuals. Do you know people like this? Do you know someone like King Saul? Someone that will express love to you openly, but then try to destroy you behind your back. Someone plagued with jealousy and bent on destruction. You see, King Saul was jealous of David, so much to the extent that he wanted him dead. It was this same jealousy that the priestly class had towards Jesus. Aside from Christian theology, I'd go as far as to say that it was jealousy that nailed Jesus to that cross. Jealousy over the fact that he could do it the best. He could defy natural laws. He could get the love and attention of the masses. And not just jealousy from the priest or his contemporaries, but from the Romans as well. The Roman leadership, if you will. So the same jealousy that Lucifer had towards God, because he envied God's position. He wanted to be in God's position. He wanted to have God's position. Do you know any people like that? People that want to take your position? Or people that want to be in your position? People that want to have your position? This is Lucifer. He wanted to esteem himself above the throne of God. So we are lavish with examples here, rich with examples. The Bible has many examples of jealous individuals. So whether it's Lucifer, King Saul, or the Pharisees that represent hatred towards Jesus, or even Cain, the original jealousy, the jealousy that murdered his very own brother. So you're dealing with a personality profile. You're dealing with a personality type. You're dealing with a specific individual that the Bible is telling you about within these stories. So it's a cautionary message. These are the pretentious, deceptive people that pretend to be good, but are putting on a facade. And there are a lot of people who operate like this. There are a lot of people who put on a good show. So beware of wolves in sheep's clothing. Those who pretend to be innocent but have a hidden agenda, an ulterior motive, people that come into your life under false pretenses, the ones who constantly try to catch you at fault, waiting for you to slip up. Do you know people like that? That cling to every word that you say, hoping that they can find a contradiction in your speech, in your general communication, in a regular conversation, paying attention to if you contradict yourself to expose you. The ones who are waiting for you to make a mistake, right? So these are the ones who want to see you naked, bruised, exposed, and humiliated. They want to see you hanging on a cross, ridiculed and mocked because they carry such a strong hatred for you. These people exist. They're out there. So this is more than just a story. This is real life. And then there are the Christ people, as I like to call them, the water walkers, those who are exceptional, the ones who do the impossible. These are the people that bring restoration and healing to a situation, the illuminated ones, if you will, the ones who carry the glow that can light up a room, the ones who speak life into dead situations, the ones who resurrect your spirit because they have the power to raise the dead. And at the same time, they are not afraid to die, especially for what they believe in, because they stand up against injustice and they speak truth to power, a social justice advocate, if you will. This is the personality profile of a Christ-like individual. So if you're calling yourself a Christian, but you don't have the same constitution, then I'd say you're mislabeling yourself because you're not cut from that cloth. We're talking about someone who is not afraid to hang around the lepers. Do you know who the lepers are? Those are the people with skin diseases. Those are the ones whose flesh is rotting. Do you know any people like this? Where their flesh is literally falling apart? Do you know anybody whose lives are falling apart? Do you hang around them? But one touch will make them whole if you are the Christ and bring restoration to their situation. So are you afraid of the people whose lives are falling apart? Do you avoid them? Do you stay away from them? Or are you like Jesus? Do you hang with the lepers and make them whole? So to be like Christ, or the people who are like Christ, are the people who have a mentality of service. They're the ones whose mentality is to serve. Someone who will stoop low just to elevate and raise others to a much higher standard of life, a much higher standard of living, right? We're talking about someone who's not ashamed to be seen with you despite your socioeconomic status or your position in life. He didn't fear that it would ruin his credibility or his social standing to be seen with people who were deemed, quote unquote, less desirable, right? So these are people who teach and educate, protest and demonstrate, heal and restore. This is the Christ. This is the Christ-like personality. Do you know anyone like this? Might you be someone like this, right? I'm talking about someone who can make the blind people see, the deaf hear, the dumb talk, and the paralyzed walk. Someone who changes your perspective, changes your outlook, causes you to maybe comprehend certain concepts, causes you to articulate and change your position in life. Do you know any people like this? Do you know someone who can create abundance in times of scarcity? Someone who can multiply your resources? Special people, I'd say. So the story is trying to convey the general message that sometimes in life you have good people in bad positions, and then conversely, you have bad people in good positions. The righteous prostitute versus the unholy priest. Yes, indeed. Fortunate for us, God weighs the heart. And the ones you least expect will obtain first place in the kingdom of heaven. How does that work? It's the ones that you least expect. Perhaps it's because they have the character and integrity despite their circumstances and conditions. Thankfully, God weighs the heart. Yes, thankfully he does. You also have the Judases out there, for those of us who have been backstabbed and betrayed. There are Judases, the ones that hang around you all the time to collect information, right? They study you, they figure you out, only to later burn you at the first opportunity that they get, right? So you gotta analyze and inspect your crew, analyze the people that are around you, right? Because some will have little faith in you, and that hurts. Some won't even believe in you, even though you show them miracles time after time after time again. They're still of little faith. Some will deny you in times of adversity. Isn't that interesting? They'll deny you in public, right? And some will benefit from what you do for them and then walk away and never give thanks after absorbing the miracle, right? Talking about unappreciative individuals in your life, takers, people that are benefactors of your goodness that will take from you, absorb the miracles, and don't even give thanks, right? And then there's some that will sell you out onto death, and that's a whole fact. So yes, everyone is in the Bible because the Bible is real life. Everyone's in there, right? So this is why I encourage everyone to look at the Bible as literary, because you got the haters, you got the exceptional people, you got the sellouts, and then you have the downtrodden, broken-hearted, spirited. You have the rulers, the ones that make life hard for people. You got the unappreciative and the benefactors. You have the observers on the sidelines, the ones who will climb a tree to get a better view of what's going on. We know that story. Do I even have to say the name? Yes, we're all in this book. But what character are you is the question. What role are you playing? Who do you represent when you read the Bible? Which character speaks to your personality? And who are you playing? Right? Because it's a clearly demarcated line. The Bible is a book of distinction. Jesus said, I wish you'd either be hot or cold, because if you're lukewarm, I will spit you out of my mouth. Some translations say vomit you out of his mouth. And this goes to show that God is saying, pick a side. Are you a sheep or a goat? Are you the wheat or the tares? The ones who strangle and suffocate and squeeze the life out of people, right? Are you a salt? Are these salt or spoilers? Do you spoil everything, right? Are you a devil who disguises himself as an angel of light? Might you be doing that? Sure, a lot of people do. Or are you an arrogant ruler, someone in a position of power? Or are you a jealous friend or an untrustworthy individual? Are you someone who can be in the presence of greatness and still disbelieve, still doubt, right? But the sad thing is that there are some people who worship Christ, and yet they try to kill him every day because they don't even realize the story was talking about them. And that's a travesty. That's a whole travesty. So the Bible contains archetypes of personality profiles expressed in the characters in the story. And I would encourage you to re-examine and reread it to find out which character best fits you and how you can evolve to be the Christ in the story and not the haters, because there's too many of those out there.